looking at this beautiful morning light streaming through the living room window. I'm actually sitting here with my second cup of coffee. And there's something absolutely magical about these dust motes dancing in the sunbeam. You know how sometimes the light hits at exactly the right angle, and suddenly you can see these tiny particles floating and swirling like they're performing their own private ballet. It's the kind of moment that makes you stop whatever you're doing and just appreciate the simple beauty that's happening right in front of you. This particular quality of light reminds me so much of what Michelle has been talking about with her office mural project. She has this incredible eye for how visual elements can completely transform a space and affect people's moods without them even realizing it. The way she describes color psychology and environmental impact, it's like she sees layers of meaning in everything around us that most of us just walk past without noticing. Speaking of Michelle's mural project, I have to tell you about the amazing progress she's been making. Remember that comprehensive 52-page proposal she put together? Well, management finally gave her the green light. And honestly, watching this transformation unfold has been absolutely fascinating. She started with a pilot program in the break room, and the response from employees has been so positive that now there's talk of expanding the project to other areas of the office. What really strikes me about Michelle's approach is how she's involving everyone in the process. She's not just painting a mural and calling it done. Instead, she's organizing these design workshops where employees contribute ideas and personal touches to the overall vision. People who never considered themselves creative are suddenly sketching out concepts and sharing stories about what colors make them feel most productive or peaceful. It's like she's discovered this hidden wellspring of creativity that was just waiting for someone to tap into it. The photography workshops she's been running during lunch hours have become incredibly popular too. Last week, she told me about David from accounting, this guy who started completely skeptical about anything artsy. But now, he's leading photography walks around the neighborhood and teaching other beginners about composition and lighting. There's something so beautiful about watching people discover they have creative abilities they never knew existed. Michelle has been documenting the whole mural process with before and after photos, and the transformation is honestly remarkable to see. What started as bland, institutional white walls has become this vibrant, collaborative artwork that tells the story of the people who work there. She's incorporated QR codes that link to employee stories about what home and community mean to them, creating these layers of meaning that visitors can explore if they want to dig deeper. The psychological research she included in that proposal is really paying off now. She's been tracking employee satisfaction surveys and productivity metrics, and there are measurable improvements in both areas since the mural project began. Management is starting to see the value in what initially seemed like just decoration. And Michelle has been invited to present her findings at a workplace wellness conference this fall. You know, all this talk about creative work makes me think about Elena and how her kitchen has become this incredible artistic studio space. The woman treats baking like other people approach painting or sculpture, with the same attention to detail and experimental spirit. And right now, with her sister's wedding approaching in July, she's really feeling the pressure to create something extraordinary. The wedding cake project has intensified dramatically over the past few weeks. We're talking about a 3-tier lavender honey cake, which sounds absolutely divine, but also terrifyingly complex for someone who's never attempted anything quite so ambitious. Elena's been practicing obsessively, testing different ratios of lavender, so it provides that lovely floral note without making the cake taste like soap. She mentioned that she's gone through probably 20 pounds of flour just perfecting the base recipe. The family taste testing sessions have become quite the production. And from what Elena tells me, they're equal parts helpful and stressful. Her son Marco has developed this diplomatic way of offering feedback that manages to be both honest and encouraging, while Sophia has become the enthusiastic cheerleader of every experiment. But then there's her brother Tony, who keeps asking why she can't just make chocolate like normal people, which isn't exactly boosting her confidence levels. What I find most endearing about this whole cake situation is how seriously Elena is taking the technical aspects. She's been researching structural engineering for outdoor events because the wedding is in July heat, studying how different frostings hold up under various temperature conditions, and even practicing with wooden dowels and support systems. It's like she's approaching this cake the way an architect would approach building a small cathedral. Elena has been consulting with Gerald the beekeeper about specialty wildflower honey, and she's even reached out to a professional pastry chef named Linda, who she met through the veterinary clinic where she works. Linda has been reluctantly offering advice, probably because she recognizes Elena's genuine passion and determination to do this right. The whole project has become this community effort, with people contributing expertise and encouragement from all directions. But perhaps my favorite character in Elena's kitchen saga is Gerald the sourdough starter, who's been thriving for 18 months now and has developed quite the personality. Elena talks to Gerald every morning while she feeds him, and I swear she's convinced that he responds better to Italian opera than contemporary music. She keeps this detailed journal tracking his bubbling patterns and how his mood seems to change with the weather. Gerald has become something of a celebrity in the neighborhood. Elena has given away 12 starter babies to friends and family, and people specifically request Gerald bread when they know she's been baking. There's even a local cafe owner who's expressed interest in buying Gerald's bread regularly, which has Elena considering whether she might want to turn this passion into something more official. The renovation situation has created this wonderful, unexpected chapter in Elena's culinary journey. With her kitchen still torn apart after 6 months of construction delays, she's been working out of her garage with just a hot plate, toaster oven, and mini fridge. Contractor Dave continues to promise that everything will be wrapped up by end of next week, which he's been saying weekly for the past 5 months. But Elena has stopped believing those timelines. What's remarkable is that this makeshift garage kitchen is actually producing better results than her full kitchen ever did. She thinks it might be because the simplified equipment is forcing her to be more creative and precise with her techniques. The garage door stays open during her cooking sessions, and it's become neighborhood entertainment. People stop by for samples and progress updates, turning her outdoor workspace into an impromptu community gathering spot. Elena being Elena, she's been documenting this whole garage gourmet adventure with photos that she's considering turning into a blog. The images of her creating elaborate pastries with minimal equipment, while contractor Dave works in the background, have this wonderful juxtaposition of chaos and artistry that perfectly captures her approach to life. The community teaching she's been doing at the community center has expanded too. What started as one weekend baking basics class has turned into weekly ongoing sessions with a waiting list. Her student base ranges from 8-year-old Maya, who has natural talent but needs to learn patience, to 70-year-old Frank, who approaches baking like an engineering project with detailed spreadsheets tracking recipe variations and results. You know, watching Elena work reminds me of how Benny approaches his morning security patrol. He's just finishing up his rounds right now, having completed his systematic inspection of every corner of the yard, with the same serious dedication that Elena brings to her baking experiments. That dog truly believes he's personally responsible for the safety and security of our entire neighborhood, and he takes that responsibility very seriously indeed. Benny has this specific route he follows every single morning. First, he checks the fence perimeter for any overnight developments. Then, he investigates that corner where the squirrels like to congregate and plot their daily mischief, followed by a thorough examination of the herb garden for any suspicious scents or activities. The whole process takes about 15 minutes, but it's 15 minutes of focused, professional-grade surveillance work. What I love about Benny's approach is how he manages to find fresh interest in the same spots every single day. You'd think after months of patrolling the exact same territory, he might get bored or careless, but no. Every morning brings new mysteries to solve and potential threats to assess. The ongoing squirrel situation, in particular, requires constant vigilance and regular status updates. His threat assessment system is quite sophisticated. Squirrels rank as high priority and require ongoing situation monitoring. The mailman gets medium priority status as probably suspicious, but tolerated due to Jess's acceptance. Familiar neighborhood sounds register as low priority, while new scents demand immediate investigation and risk evaluation. Meanwhile, Muffin has perfected the art of strategic positioning throughout the house. Right now, she's claimed that perfect spot on the kitchen counter where she can supervise any potential food preparation while also maintaining optimal comfort. She has this uncanny ability to appear silently whenever anything interesting might be happening in the kitchen, as if she has some kind of food preparation radar that alerts her to possibilities. The relationship between Benny and Muffin continues to fascinate me. They've worked out this professional courtesy system where he manages ground-level security while she handles elevated surface surveillance. Occasionally, they coordinate their efforts, especially when it comes to kitchen supervision duties. But mostly, they respect each other's territories and expertise without any territorial disputes. Muffin's domain clearly includes all vertical surfaces, sunny spots that require position updates throughout the day, and Jess's personal items like the bed and favorite reading chair. Her quality control standards are quite strict, and she expresses approval or mild disdain through strategic positioning and the intensity of her supervisory stare. Speaking of creative growth and unexpected talents, I've been thinking a lot about Sarah and her pottery journey in Portland. The progress she's been making with those classes is honestly remarkable, especially considering this is the same person who managed to kill a cactus in college. Her instructor, Miguel Santos, sounds like exactly the kind of patient, encouraging teacher that Sarah needed to build her confidence with working in clay. The class dynamics have become almost like a little support group of creative exploration. There's Dorothy, the retired elementary teacher who approaches every project with perfectionist tendencies, and James, this stressed corporate lawyer who's using pottery as stress relief therapy. Then there's Kai, the college student who seems naturally gifted and spends time helping the other students, and Beverly, an empty nester who's exploring creativity now that her kids have left home. Sarah's skill progression has been impressive to watch from a distance. She started in January, barely able to center clay on the wheel, with everything collapsing the moment she tried to pull up walls. By February, she'd created her first successful bowl, wonky but functional. March was all about learning glazing techniques and experimenting with colors. And in April, she started attempting larger pieces and exploring different types of clay. Now in May, she's planning her first set of matching dinnerware, which feels like such a leap from those early disasters. She's converted a corner of her apartment into a mini pottery studio with basic tools and space for pieces to dry. The apartment is apparently filling up with pottery in various stages of completion, and her friends have become unwilling testers of functional pieces like mugs and bowls. Sarah being Sarah, she's documenting the whole journey with photos and detailed notes, probably planning some kind of blog series about creative discovery in your 30s. She mentioned that pottery time has become this sacred self-care ritual where she can completely focus on the present moment and let all the daily stress fade into the background. The Duchess adoption situation seems to finally be reaching some kind of resolution, though it's been emotionally complex for everyone involved. Mrs. Patterson, the 82-year-old neighbor who fell and broke her hip back in February, is now settled in assisted living and probably won't be returning to independent living. Sarah offered to temporarily feed Duchess during the recovery period, but 6 months later, that 14-year-old tortoiseshell cat has completely moved into Sarah's apartment and routine. The guilt Sarah's been feeling about essentially inheriting someone else's beloved pet has been weighing on her. But from everything she's told me, Duchess seems much happier and healthier in Sarah's care. The cat has claimed the exact center of Sarah's bed for sleeping, only drinks from the faucet, and has apparently appointed herself as quality control manager for pottery projects by knocking over any pieces that don't meet her standards. Mrs. Patterson's family has been discussing permanent care arrangements, and it sounds like they're relieved that Duchess has found such a loving home. Sarah mentioned that when she visited Mrs. Patterson last week, the older woman seemed more concerned about Duchess's well-being than about missing her own companion. Sometimes these transitions happen naturally, even when they start from difficult circumstances. Sarah has created special ceramic food and water bowls for Duchess using techniques she learned in pottery class, which feels like this lovely integration of her new skills with caring for her unexpected feline companion. Her pottery classmates have been following what they call the cat drama with invested interest, offering advice and moral support as Sarah navigates the emotional complexity of the situation. The Kevin romance has been developing in this lovely, practical way that seems perfect for Sarah's personality. Their meet cute at the farmer's market, where they spent 45 minutes debating the merits of hybrid versus heirloom tomatoes, has turned into weekly Saturday morning meetings that have evolved into something much deeper. Kevin brings imperfect vegetables from his farm that inspire Sarah's cooking experiments, and she's been designing farm logos and marketing materials as relationship gifts. What I find most encouraging about Sarah and Kevin's relationship is how their different skills complement each other. She's teaching him about design principles and visual communication, while he's introducing her to sustainable farming practices and seasonal cooking. They're both creative problem solvers who approach challenges from unconventional angles, which seems to create this natural understanding between them. Kevin's 15-acre farm, called Stone Creek Organic, specializes in heirloom vegetables and heritage breed chickens, and he's been slowly renovating the farmhouse where he lives with his border collie Scout. Sarah has been spending weekends at the farm, learning about sustainable agriculture, while Kevin learns about graphic design and marketing from her professional expertise. Kevin's border collie Scout has been integrated into their dating routine, though Duchess remains thoroughly unimpressed by the addition of a dog to Sarah's life, even a temporary one. Sarah mentioned that Scout has excellent manners and seems to understand that Duchess rules the apartment, but the cat clearly considers the dog's presence an unnecessary complication to her otherwise well-ordered world. You know, all this talk about community building through shared interests makes me think about what's happening in the office with Robert and Bean the coffee plant. That little office mascot has become quite the celebrity over the past few months, and watching Robert's daily care routine has become entertainment for the entire department. Robert's morning ritual now starts with checking Bean's water levels and overall health status before he even turns on his computer. He's been documenting Bean's growth with weekly photos, tracking every new leaf and measuring growth progress like he's conducting a scientific study. The colleagues have started bringing plant-related gifts and asking for advice about their own office plants, which has Robert feeling like some kind of botanical consultant. What's particularly amusing is how Bean has become integrated into office culture, as if the plant were an actual team member with personality and preferences. People say good morning to Bean, ask about the plant's weekend, and even include Bean in group photos from office events. The social media documentation of Bean's office life has attracted attention from other departments, making this little coffee plant something of an interdepartmental celebrity. Bean's social media presence has grown beyond what anyone expected. Robert posts weekly updates about new growth, environmental changes, and Bean's apparent responses to office activities. Colleagues contribute photos and Bean commentary, creating this collaborative online personality that people from other companies have started following. There's even been discussion about what to do when Bean outgrows the office space. Robert's monthly coffee tastings have evolved into this established cultural institution that now has official budget support and scheduled meeting room time. 15 to 20 people regularly attend these sessions, where Robert explains geographic differences, processing methods, and cultural traditions around coffee. Colleagues have started bringing coffee from their home countries and travels, creating this wonderful international exchange program centered around caffeine appreciation. The educational component of these tastings has become quite sophisticated. Robert creates detailed tasting notes, explains the relationship between altitude and flavor development, and teaches about different processing methods like wet versus dry processing. People who never thought they cared about coffee quality are suddenly discussing acidity levels and flavor profiles with genuine enthusiasm. His relationship with Angela has been developing alongside his coffee obsessions. She's been learning basic brewing techniques and gaining appreciation for quality coffee, while Robert has been learning to balance his passion with relationship time. They've been saving money for a house with proper workshop space, and Angela's photography skills have been helping with coffee documentation and potential marketing projects. David's book club leadership has been flourishing in ways that I don't think he initially expected when he started organizing monthly neighborhood meetings. The group has grown beyond just book discussions to include author Skype sessions, literary walking tour around the city, and even volunteer projects like installing little free library boxes around the neighborhood. The member dynamics create this lovely intergenerational community with people from their mid-20s to early 40s, representing different cultural backgrounds and professional experiences. David's gift for matching books to people's interests and comfort levels has created an inclusive environment where both casual readers and serious literature enthusiasts feel welcome and engaged. They've been coordinating group outings to bookstore events and author readings. And David mentioned that several members have started their own informal book exchanges and reading challenges outside of the official monthly meetings. It's become this expanding network of literary community that reaches beyond the original scope of just discussing selected books once a month. His novel writing has been progressing steadily too. The literary fiction project about intergenerational family dynamics and second-generation immigrant experience has reached about 40,000 words. And his monthly critique group has been providing valuable feedback on character development and authentic dialogue. David's early morning writing sessions before work have become this disciplined practice that's building both his skills and his confidence as a storyteller. The bookstore where David works as assistant manager has been thriving with the community events and author programming he's been coordinating. His ability to match customers with perfect book recommendations has become legendary among regular customers. And the monthly events have attracted new people who are discovering the joy of independent bookstores. Marcus has been expanding his automotive maintenance workshops at the community center. And the waiting list for sessions has grown long enough that he's considering offering additional monthly sessions. His teaching approach, which combines hands-on demonstration with patient explanation, has attracted participants ranging from college students trying to save money to retirees who finally have time to learn skills they always wanted. The intergenerational learning that happens during these workshops has become one of Marcus's favorite aspects of teaching. Older participants share life experience and practical wisdom, while younger attendees contribute technology knowledge and fresh perspectives on problem solving. Marcus mentioned that several participants have started their own informal car care groups, meeting in parking lots on weekends to practice techniques and help each other with maintenance projects. His restoration project on the 1985 Toyota pickup has become a community attraction, with neighbors stopping by on weekends to observe progress and ask questions about technique. Marcus has been using the project as a teaching tool, explaining restoration principles and letting interested observers try basic techniques under his supervision. The truck is apparently becoming as much about community building as personal accomplishment. The relationship with Angela has been developing beautifully as she learns automotive basics and gains appreciation for the craftsmanship involved in restoration work. Marcus's patient teaching style works perfectly with Angela's photography background, and she's been documenting the restoration process while learning practical maintenance skills that make her feel more self-reliant. Now that summer weather is really settling in, everyone seems to be adapting their routines and projects to accommodate the heat and longer daylight hours. Janet has been planning this elaborate digital detox vacation for her family, which involves renting a cabin from Betty Thompson, a retired teacher who specializes in hosting families who want to disconnect from technology for a week. The preparation process has been extensive, involving gradual screen time reduction in the weeks leading up to the trip, purchasing analog entertainment like board games and art supplies, and having multiple family negotiations about what constitutes an acceptable level of disconnection. Janet being Janet, she's approached this vacation planning with the same systematic thoroughness she brings to organizing everything else in her life. Tom's initial panic about being unable to check work email has gradually shifted to curious anticipation about what a week without constant digital input might feel like. Rachel has been the most resistant, worried about missing social media updates, and being unable to communicate with friends. But Janet has been working on compromise solutions that honor everyone's concerns while still achieving the goal of authentic family connection time. The cabin they're renting is in a location with no cell service or Wi-Fi, but it comes equipped with landline access for emergencies and plenty of outdoor activities like hiking trails, fishing spots, and a lake for swimming. Betty Thompson provides games, books, and outdoor equipment, plus local knowledge about seasonal activities and wildlife viewing opportunities. Michelle's seasonal visual environment project has been expanding beyond the office mural to include strategic lighting adjustments and mood support research throughout the building. She's been studying how different color temperatures and natural light optimization can help with seasonal affective responses, especially as summer heat requires more indoor time and artificial lighting during peak daylight hours. The photography workshops have adapted to summer schedules with early morning sessions that take advantage of golden hour lighting and avoid midday heat. Michelle mentioned that participants have been experimenting with outdoor portrait sessions and nature photography, building confidence with technical skills while exploring creative expression as stress management therapy. Her research into color psychology and environmental design has been gaining attention from other organizations, and she's been invited to speak at a workplace wellness conference about creative approaches to employee engagement. The documentation she's been keeping about productivity improvements and employee satisfaction metrics is providing concrete evidence for the value of environmental psychology in workplace design. Elena's heat management strategies have completely transformed her cooking routine. She's shifted to early morning baking sessions to avoid heating up the garage space during the hottest parts of the day. And she's been experimenting with more cold preparation techniques and no-cook recipes that still satisfy her creative urges without adding heat to an already warm environment. The herb garden that helped Sarah establish has apparently exceeded all expectations for someone with Sarah's historically disastrous relationship with plants. The basil has gotten bushy, the rosemary is flowering, and the mint is spreading despite being contained in pots. Sarah has added cherry tomato plants, oregano, and thyme, with plans for peppers and cilantro if the current success continues. Sarah's documentation of the garden progress with weekly photos has become this lovely ritual of connection between us, showing me how the plants respond to her care and attention. The local nursery staff apparently recognize her as a regular customer now, which still amazes both of us considering her college plant care track record. Tommy, the college student neighbor, has been offering gardening advice in exchange for fresh herbs, and other tenants in Sarah's building have started asking for gardening guidance, which Sarah finds ironically amusing given her previous reputation as a plant killer. The building's superintendent, initially skeptical about the fire escape garden project, has become supportive and even protective of Sarah's growing setup. The morning light has shifted enough that Muffin has relocated from her kitchen counter supervision post to the living room windowsill, where she can maintain optimal sunbeam positioning while keeping watch over both indoor and outdoor activities. She's perfected this liquid cat physics demonstration, where she somehow fits her entire body into whatever small patch of sunlight is available, adjusting her position incrementally as the light moves across surfaces. Benny has transitioned from outdoor patrol duties to indoor supervision mode, positioning himself strategically in the kitchen where any food preparation activities would require his professional oversight and quality control assessment. His hopeful expression suggests that morning snack time might be a possibility worth monitoring, though he maintains the patient dignity of someone who understands that good things come to those who wait politely. I'm finishing this second cup of coffee, feeling so grateful for this network of friends and their various creative pursuits and life adventures. There's something deeply satisfying about knowing that right now, Elena might be talking to Gerald while measuring flour for another wedding cake practice session. Sarah could be centering clay on her pottery wheel while Duchess supervises from her perch. Michelle might be setting up lighting for a photography workshop that will help someone discover their creative confidence. Marcus is probably checking something under the hood of his pickup truck with that methodical attention to detail he brings to everything, while Robert tends to Bean and prepares for today's coffee education session. David might be working on a difficult scene in his novel or planning the next book club meeting. And Janet could be color coding something that will make her family's life run more smoothly. The morning has settled into that peaceful rhythm where the day feels full of possibility. The house feels content and lived in. And these simple moments of reflection remind me why I treasure this life, surrounded by such wonderfully creative and passionate people, each of them pursuing their interests with such dedication and joy, building communities around shared learning, and creating these ripple effects of inspiration that reach much further than they